All right, guys. I'm Jen. This is the Otakuology podcast, and if you don't know that by now, then God help you. But thanks for listening up to this point if you're watching and listening to Over the Garden Wall. This is the Otakuology podcast where we like to cover about a lot of nerdy things. In particular, for this little show right here, we cover Over the Garden Wall. This one is for Chapter 10, The Unknown. That's all this one is called. The last one was called Into the Unknown. So Chapter 10, this is the final episode for Over the Garden Wall. As I said last time, unless I can somehow get the comics, then we may have a few more episodes roll out in the future, but who knows? And I'm not exactly sure or very confident of how well I can get my hands on those. But, as I said, this is the Otakuology podcast. We cover nerdy things. Just bask in the glow for a moment. But getting into this episode, Chapter 10 of Over the Garden Wall, The Unknown, the synopsis for this one is after making a deal to save Wirt, Greg gradually turns into an Edelwood tree. Wirt and Beatrice find the beast who tries to strike a new deal with Wirt. So, a lot of stuff happens in this one. I feel like this is probably a super sad episode compared to most other TV shows that do have little things here and there and how good they are, or if they're not. So this is kind of a big thing at this point right now. So our beginning part on things for the opening, we've basically run out of all those. So now we're just going to have to get into this, and our ending will be a little longer for the closing. But getting into this episode, we do have a lot more things that have happened. We have Beatrice that has been following the footsteps of the Beast and Greg and makes it to where she can see them. Now, it is kind of weird that we're actually seeing now that the Beast leaves footprints, because until the last episode, Babes in the Wood, episode 8, we didn't exactly even know that he had legs. He would just kind of pop out and almost look like he had like a long dress or something on like that. Nothing that we actually knew about it. So, as she tries to fly up to him, the wind gets rough and Greg is completing these little tasks that the Beast is setting him up to do. And he does hear Beatrice try and say something to him, and the Beast says, no, that's nothing. That's just basically like the wind, because he doesn't want Beatrice to get close enough to Wirt, or to Greg. So he asked, how am I going to get home? We have this stuff that we're doing, how many more tasks do I have to do? So as far as we know, he gave him 3 tasks. The first one was to find a golden comb, and Greg just found a honeycomb. So he told him, he goes, it's a golden comb of honey, basically. And then we have another one where he had brought him a spool of silver thread, which it's really funny too, because Greg actually points this out to us and goes, yeah, it's just a spider web wrapped around a stick, basically. That's all that is. The last thing that the Beast asked for is the sun, and for it to go into a teacup. Greg puts the teacup on a stump and readjusts it, where when you look at it from a lower angle, such as his, that the sun will actually go as it's setting and appear to set into the teacup. Pretty cool idea. I do think that is awesome if you see pictures like that or something. But we do have that aspect of it where he has now kind of made him lose hope even more. Which I'm kind of wondering if that was part of the Beast plan the whole time. We don't exactly know, but I feel like part of the thing that pops up after Beatrice and Wirt find each other and go to find Greg, which is a little shocking. You know, Beatrice and Wirt are kind of standoffish at this point, especially Wirt. But after hearing Beatrice cares for Greg and that she wants to go find and help him and everything, I feel like is the part where Wirt actually plays a lot into the forgiveness aspect for her after the whole Adelaide thing. So we do finally decide on what to do. They get up to where Greg is. The woodsman actually takes the beast off in a different direction. And Wirt and Beatrice come and find Greg, which he does have an Edelwood tree starting to grow around him. And he starts coughing out leaves. And they have to ask him why he's coughing out these leaves. You know, the Edelwood tree is growing inside you too. He said, no, I just got hungry and started eating leaves. So that does have kind of a little thing in this as well. Not very much. But this also prompts other things that are happening. The woodsman was in the old grist mill again, trying to find some Edelwood branches to actually get oil out of, which we do go back to episode 1 where I believe Greg broke it and threw it underneath the couch of the house, and the woodsman finds it to try and give him some more oil. It's not really enough, but moving forward, he does hear the beast sing and comes to find him. As he gets up to him, we see more of how the beast powers are basically making the woods around him into complete darkness almost. Really, the lantern's the only thing that is doing a lot. And you have the woodsman get angry with him too and say, hey, you know, like, I don't want to sacrifice this child or any other children. You know, all I was doing was basically cutting down these Edelwood trees. I didn't know that they were children, but now that we've finally gotten to this point, it's actually a problem with me. And we found out that, too, from the opening with the woodsman of when he supposedly lost his daughter, that it has been a while, like a very long time since everything happened and the woodsman started carrying the lantern. So we do get that aspect of it. We have where the beast threatens him, and we have the glowy eyes like the dog had in episode 1. Which, I mean, that could be pretty weird. What if the beast was just the turtle that the dog ate? Because he never actually chewed it up or anything. A turtle that got, like, some kind of big form of sentience to become, like, a superpowered villain. That'd be a crazy story. But the woodsman and the beast get into this fight as the woodsman's trying to pull the Edelwood branches off to allow Greg to kind of slip out. The beast reaches for the lantern and tries to get it, and he tells the woodsman, I'm only trying to help you. I was going to carry it for a while for you. And as they move forward, we do see the woodsman is fighting the beast now and has basically run off, and they're both in the dark. We don't exactly know what's going on per se, but Wirt finds the lantern and comes back and finally finds Greg And we now have found out what discouraged Greg enough to have the Edelwood tree start growing around him. And that's because he stole the rock fact rock. With this and everything he has accomplished, he basically lost a lot of the feeling about it, because now he feels like he's a bad guy because he stole the rock without asking if he could have it or anything else. And that had basically put Greg in enough despair for the beast to be able to get in and work the Edelwood tree. Wirt tries to get him out. Wirt is not strong enough. But we do go into this other part now where he is walking up to the beast, and the beast is trying to make a bargain with him. As in our synopsis said, the beast is trying to make a bargain with Wirt on letting Greg's soul get put in there and being able to walk off with it and not have to worry about it. This seems like a good plan for Wirt at the beginning, and as he sits there and thinks for a second, he says, no, that's stupid. Why would I do that? The beast has the whole place now in complete darkness, and we do get to see this really cool aspect of Wirt now bring up and basically say, the beast says, have you ever seen full darkness or pure darkness? And Wirt says, well, have you? As he threatens the beast to actually blow the lantern out. And this is a part where we do get some words that he says that I think do encourage the woodsman a lot. Wirt points out that basically, out of everybody that has anything to do with the lantern, why is it always the beast that seems like is the one pushing so hard for it? It's just kind of funny when it comes down to it that's kind of the thing. And he does joke about it, and I don't know if he actually knows or not, but it gives the woodsman a good idea of what to do next. On if the beast even is, or if the beast actually does need that lantern or not. Or is he just trying to let the woodsman hold on to it for a while? So the beast quickly backs off. Wirt puts the lantern in front of him and says, this is your burden to bear, basically. You handle this problem. And he picks up the axe to go chop Greg out of this Edelwood tree that he is partially stuck in now. The woodsman does blow it out, and it does seem like this is a cease to the beast spirit. It does kill him off, it seems like. We also have this part where now Wirt is in the water, wakes up, realizes where he is, and goes to swim down and get Greg and the frog and pull them back up to the water. Everybody comes to try and pull them back out. The police were called and an ambulance was called for them to be taken in because the water's very chilly. Greg wakes up first and tells jokes and everything. Wirt wakes up next and hears a bunch of stuff with it. Greg is telling about their tale. That, again, we don't know if it happened or not. Sarah brings up the tape to Wirt and says, obviously it had to be you, Wirt, because who else has a tape player here or there in where we live at? We also have a name for the frog finally that Wirt gives to him as a joke and is now stuck. But the frog's name is Jason Thunderberger, from the guy that Wirt didn't like that he thought was going to steal Sarah. So now here at the very end, After everything is taken care of, and we're still with Wirt and Greg, we have where Wirt basically vows that he's going to do better for Greg, and they tell about their adventures and how everything happened and that they're back. And then we go back into the little kind of like how the opening was with the ending. The first one is the woodsman sitting at a house, which does look like it to be his. So we know that. It's snowing. And as far as we know, there's no lights on in the house or anything else. He is just sitting there, and his daughter pokes her head out from the door, and we find out that she's been missing him just as much as he's been missing her, and that basically the beast sent him on this wild goose chase because he thought his daughter had passed away. That was not true, and it seems that she has been at home this whole time, or by magic maybe the beast was holding on to her, and after his defeat, she's come back. So that is kind of the happy ending to the woodsman story. We go back to the fish that is fishing in the boat, catching turtles, which I'm still not sure about the fish at all, but now we know that somebody is probably fishing these turtles and maybe selling them to like Auntie Whispers or somebody else. We actually get to see some other good parts. We get to see Lorna and Auntie Whispers sitting down and actually having like a tea time together, because now they don't have to worry about the ghost or the demon that possessed Lorna. We also have frogs that we see kind of poke their head out of the mud, still hibernating. So it, I think, is showing that it is starting to get cold and be Christmassy. We have the Endicott little one where it's Quincy Endicott and Fred standing together, and painted in a mural, I assume, that they paid for, and Marguerite is actually standing there in front of it looking at it. So we do see how they are living together now and everything else, which is awesome for that happy ending. We now also see the guy that sung the song for Wirt in the Dark Tavern, that he actually has 3 new statues that he's made, which are Wirt, Greg, and Beatrice, kind of to help, I guess, tell the story. We have this other part from, I'm pretty sure her name is Miss Crabtree, but I can't 100% remember at this current moment. But the teacher and Jimmy Brown and a group of the animals from the school actually go to the circus that put Jimmy in the suit to begin with, before he got stuck by it. So they're sitting there, and we see them in the crowd sitting and watching it, which is very pleasing, I feel like. Then we get to the part where Pottsfield was. I can't tell. I believe that in that episode, or at the ending part, if you watch it, let me know what you think. But it appears that the skeletons actually, their spirits have already passed on. After the party, they passed on. So I don't know if there's anything that means that, or if you just always pass on, or if you don't. But we have that, and then we have kind of the camera pan up along the giant pumpkin statue-y thingy, and a little black cat pop out, which is Enoch. We knew that, and that Enoch was a little black cat. And then we kind of have this verbal part where we go into Beatrice's family's home, which is the old grist mill, and her mom joking with her whenever Beatrice says, "Please stop calling all the food that we eat dirt." And so there's a few little jokes here and there with that, and Beatrice's mom tells her, basically like, smile a little more things like that, and what's the worst that she can do besides turn them back into bluebirds for doing something? So, I mean, there's a lot of different funny things with that, especially since Wirt gave her the scissors to cut off basically the blue wings so that they would be humans again. And then right at the very end, we have Greg basically take the Rock's Fact Rock back to Lady Daniels' yard and stick it back where it went. So that is all the little tidbits that we had of happy endings for all of this stuff, as some of them seem a little weird for considering them happy, or even remotely considering them before being bad. We have made it to the end of this series. So, thoughts, opinions, anything, you can message the show at otakuology.com or get a hold of us on Instagram, TikTok, or a few other places that we have it. YouTube is also one. But I hope that you've watched this and listened to it and that you enjoy it. So stay tuned, because I will have the final ending for this. Stay tuned. So this part of it, the ending, for basically in the entire Over the Garden Wall series for this, I just wanted to take a moment and actually talk to y'all about my journey kind of with it. So Over the Garden Wall, I never really saw it when it first came out. I didn't know too much about it, but I caught it on its second time around. And I remember sitting there watching it. They had it actually at that time, Cartoon Network did, as a movie, not a show. And I remember watching it and thinking that this is basically some of the coolest cartoon that I have ever seen. And that it was just really cool and awesome and amazing, whatever other cool words I can put with it. But when I watched it, I didn't exactly know what parts I was missing. I didn't know that they basically cut out a big chunk of episode 1 for a lot of stuff. They completely cut out just a big chunk of it. They also cut out episode 5, the whole episode with Quincy Endicott. Which, again, I didn't know that. I had watched it and was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Oh, it's kind of a movie. I didn't know that. I thought it was something else. And I never really had family or friends or anybody else really talk about it too much. So it just never seemed like it was that important to me. But after getting to watch that at one point and having it kind of recorded on like the DVR or whatever at my mom's house, I realized that I went over there and I ended up watching it like a lot. I got my brother to watch it. I think my mom watched it with us one time. Her and I watched it by ourselves. Just a lot. I mean, I was watching it here and there like a lot, not knowing about it until finally one day I decided, hey, let me go ahead and buy this. It is a really good series that I enjoy, and I'm going to go ahead and buy it. And I'm sitting there, and I turn on episode 1, and I get through a little bit of it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's familiar and everything else. And then as I got farther into it, I was like, I don't remember this. Like, this doesn't happen. What's going on? And we get to the end of the episode, and I was a little shocked at that and how they could cut out so many chunks of it, and people that hadn't seen it before actually missed out so much. I mean, I get that maybe the eye thing with the dog probably freaked some little kids out, but they left it in for the Beast, so it was a little odd. And then the whole Quincy Endicott one, just all together, was just gone. But watching those and seeing them now and everything, it does show how every episode does mean a lot. How fun they are to watch and go on the journey with Wirt and Greg and Beatrice, and how everything works in the unknown. And how, you have to be ready for anything at the drop of a hat, because in the unknown, anything could happen. So up until I actually did this review for y'all, I think in total, I have seen this maybe over 50 times. It is a show that I watch, a show that I find a lot of comfort in. So if I go for a while and I just need something that I enjoy, that's like a TV show or something, this is usually one of the first ones I turn on and rewatch it. I would say almost every month I rewatch it at least once. But this is a really good series. If you've never checked it out, I strongly recommend it. I would be shocked if you watched through all 10 of these episodes for the podcast and it wasn't at least a little intrigued to start watching the actual series and let me know what you think about it. But this series has been like a big part of my life for a lot of different things. I have some of my foreign friends from when I started YouTube that actually do art and have sent me actual drawings for Over the Garden Wall in their own hand to me. I've had Otaku Mike cover this with me once through a different service kind of thing. I've watched this with my kid maybe 4 or 5 times with different girlfriends on and off here and there, a couple different times a piece. And usually whenever one of my friends comes over, depending on when it is, we'll watch this at least once together. So Over the Garden Wall just has kind of that special feel for me, I guess, with the actors or the voice actors and actresses, how it's laid out, the really feel-good songs that are in all of it, and how everything here and there is just kind of different with the unknown. And we get to actually sit back, watch this, enjoy it, know what it's about, actually go from there and have fun with it. I find it kind of funny how many people are picking up more of wanting to know or watch Over the Garden Wall, and how many people are cosplaying it, how many people are doing all this other stuff with it and trying to be as accurate as they can for costumes and other stuff like that. So special thanks to anybody that has made it this far. This is obviously episode 10. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. As I said before, let me know your feedback and we can go from there. But I hope that you actually really will try this out. You'll try out the series. You'll come back and listen to it. You'll say if you agree with me or not on different aspects of it. And you'll get to have fun watching it. So I hope that you guys actually get to enjoy this. So check it out. And if you need somebody to talk to about it, I'm your man. So anyway, though, thanks for listening. I will catch y'all later. I'm Jen. And as always, I will see you next Tuesday. Bye. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more shows from the Otakuology podcast.